Hello, welcome.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. It's me, Kat, and this. Oh my god, I always point the wrong way. It's like impossible for me to point the right way. My friend V is here. Woo!
Hello.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about some art tonight. I guess today, where you are, it's not evening yet.
Yeah, it's still nice sun in the middle of the day.
Yeah. So yeah, welcome. V is a traditional oil painter. Would that be accurate? Yeah. Oil painter, fine artist. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. That's one of my questions I was going to ask you, how you feel about like the label of like fine artist.
Oh god.
Yeah, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, how long ago? We met like 10 years ago or something? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a long while.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always really admired your work. I think you're super talented. Let me just pile praise on you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, all right, let's crack into it. I might have to move a little quickly through your recent portfolio stuff because I don't know how Twitch is gonna be about like nudity. So if you see me like going fast, like that's the reason.
I think there's only like one like nude.
Yeah, it should be fine.
Mhm.
It's art, okay? Okay.
Yeah, I've never had something taken down off Instagram, and they're like pretty bad about taking down. So
they're really bad about that stuff. Let me know if I have Stardew music playing in the background. Let me know if it's too loud, chat. Hello, Sophia. Welcome to our artist chat. If anyone in the chat has questions, like as we go along, just slap them in there, and I'll read them off when I get the chance. And yeah, we're just gonna chat about art, because art is fake, you know?
I couldn't agree more.
Art is fake. But yeah, where would you like to start? Or should we just start with your recent stuff, or should we like go backwards and up?
Sure, wherever you want to start. I did just make this website like a couple weeks ago, so it's still
nice.
Like pretty, and not like super polished, but I got a lot of stuff on there.
I thought it looked pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, let's all right, let's I want to save like I think your recent stuff's the best stuff. I kind of want to like save it for last, honestly.
Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, these are can you just tell us a little bit about like what these are?
Yeah, so most of the stuff is like from my sketchbook. Those first two are just ballpoint pen in just like a plain sketchbook.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I accidentally spend too much time on a lot of my sketchbook drawings. The gray ones are from an Inktober or like Drawloween, whatever you want to call it, from a couple years ago. Which those are on a toned paper, so it's like that gray recycled paper with a ballpoint and gel pen, which is one of my favorite things to do. Just the gel pen looks so cool.
I was showing my wife this dog one. I love this dog one so much. Yeah, I'm like, do you still have an original of this one? I love this one so much. It's so cute.
I think I do, but I'm not sure.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, no, these are, I don't know. How do you, like, your art's such, like, an interesting mix of, like, realism and then, like, fantastical stuff. Like, how do you, like, bridge that gap exactly? Like, do you look at reference and then, like, just kind of, like, jump off of it, or?
Yeah, so I try and use reference for, like, everything, but then I like a lot of kinds of art, so I like to pull elements from different things that I like, and I have a hard time straying too much from realism, so that's my way of kind of incorporating that other type of stuff, like whether it be like, I like put circles and everything, like put little stars just to like mix it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a lot of these other ones are also Inktober, which is a fun way for me to like just do something a little bit different, because when I sketch the same things pretty much all the time, but Inktober is a cool one to just kind of like make something up,
right?
Which is why there's like a lot of different stuff in there. Like there's like the Akira classic like screeching bike pose, there's a wizard.
Oh yeah. Wait, where's the Akira one? I didn't see that one.
Sideways, just because it was sideways in the sketchbook, but it's in the,
like, this one. Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I'm like, wait, there it is. That's sick. I love that. Cool. Do you like Borzois? I like Borzois.
Yeah, I do. And kind of like goofy and all over the place. Like they're really cool as like a shape study as far as like shapes they make with their long bodies.
Yeah. I love that. My friend Sophia in the chat says, wow, these are all amazing. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're super talented. I love, we have you got a lot of eyes. What is it about eyes that appeals to you?
I don't know. They're kind of like my go-to when I don't know what to draw or like what to do. I think there's like so much variety in them, and I've always like really liked them. Like I was that high schooler that like doodled eyes on all like my notes and stuff in school and all my tests and whatnot. And I never really got away from that.
I mean,
so I've had a lot of eye phases.
Yeah, they look great. I love this rainbow one. That one's my favorite.
Yeah.
Gotta like the gay one, am I right? You know? Yeah, no, I totally understand. I feel like I was that kid too. It's just like eyes are just so fun to draw. There's just something about them, you know?
You could kind of like sneak them in everywhere too. Like there's the one on the bottom there with the flowers. There's a little eye tucked in there. It's like, make it just flowers. Pop an eye in there.
You know, just toss it on. That's great. I love that. Yeah, it's like, I feel like there's this notion, it's like, oh, well, you're a serious artist. You shouldn't, like, draw stuff that's, like, I don't know. You have to, like, evolve. And it's like, no, if I like drawing eyes when I was a kid, then I'm gonna draw them as an adult. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, oh, no, totally. Like, I don't think there's any, like, subject that is, like, cheesy to draw, really. I mean, there's some stuff, but, like, when it comes to, like, body parts and whatnot, like, if you like to do it, like, there's nothing that should really hold you back unless you're trying to, like, very specifically appeal to a certain audience or, I don't know, get into, like, a hyper-specific gallery. But for the most part, like, do what you like. Like, that's what I feel about art. If you don't like making what you're making, don't do it.
Don't do it. Yeah, because I feel like when you get to a certain point of, like, oh, I want to do, like, my art career, you often get, like, it's like the other side of that where you, like, get pigeonholed into, like, oh, well, V's the eye artist or something, you know what I mean?
I actually felt myself falling down that hole for a bit, because I would, like, be sitting somewhere and be like, I don't know what to draw, and, like, my friends would just be like, hands, eyes, snakes, like, those are the three things you draw. Why don't you draw one of those?
And you're like, no.
Yeah, like, I don't want to be that person that, like, does the same thing. Because I do like to, you know, draw and paint, like, kind of everything. Yeah. Which is why, like, a lot of the stuff is very varied.
Yeah.
But there's the comfort things, like the eyes, that are just easy to go to.
That makes sense. Let me move this window up a tiny bit. If everything in my scene isn't perfectly aligned, I'm like, all right. All right, let's go this way. It's clown time. I love these little dots.
Yeah, that was just me trying to spice it up, and I couldn't figure out how.
I feel dots. Dots. I love it though. Yeah, it's just I don't paint that much, but just like your precision with paint is so crazy to me. Just like, I don't know how you do that. Is it like multiple layers for each like little on the dot? Is that like one layer? Or is that multiple layers?
It's usually like several passes.
Okay.
Like with a shape like that, I'll try and do the outline like very, very carefully and slowly fill in, or else I'll do the opposite where I start in the center. Like I'm not trying to do like one and done brush stroke. Like
Okay.
I couldn't do that. Like a lot of it, it's just going back and forth. And like every shape that I do is like that, where it's a lot of just slowly working through it, because like I'm not actually that precise. I just spend so much time just doing a little bit by little bit.
Yeah. It's super hard to be precise with paint like that, so that's why I'm always like, how the fuck did they do that?
Yeah, it's a lot of struggle and stress.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, like I was interviewing to like teach people to paint at like a paint bar, you know, like those like sipping paint or whatever. And on some level, I'm like, you know, people are doing this for fun, but painting's like kind of stressful. Like.
Totally. Like, I don't paint to relax.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I had nothing better to do, but now that I'm an adult, I'm like, this is work. It's like it's tough.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's the entire time I'm working on a painting.
Right.
And there's not a single where I'm just like chilling and having a good time. It's like, I'm so focused.
Right. Yeah, I'm just like, oh, here comes Vin to hang out with us. It's just like I get it, like these people don't have any experience or like whatever, and they're just like here to get drunk, but like for me, that would stress me out because I would be like, oh, my painting sucks. Like, I don't know. I don't understand the business model for me as an artist because I'm just like, man, this seems stressful. Like,
oh, totally.
Anyway.
And I think for non-artists, it's a fun thing because it's something they don't normally do. And I think they don't have like direction when they do try to do art. So those like drink and draw, paint, whatever, are like they just get to be like goofy and fun, and they get to be a painter. And so they're all about it. But as a painter, it's the opposite.
My friend Sophia says there's a regular art therapy group here, and I have no idea how that is relaxing because I'm not an artist. It can be relaxing. It depends on like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yellow Hat Art says, hi from Mexico. I'm really excited to be here. I'm such a fan of Winterteeth. Aw. Hello, welcome.
Hi. Oh, on the therapy note, so there is ways I think that art can be like very relaxing and fun. Like I worked at art stores for several years, and there's one customer that would come in probably once a week, if not every other week, and would buy giant tubes of white oil paint, like the big ones, and little tiny canvases. And that's all they would buy, just tubes of paint, crappy brushes, and these little canvases. And my coworkers and I, after a while, were like, what is this person doing? Like, they're just buying these tiny canvases. That's it. And one day we caved and we're like, okay, man, we have to know what you're doing. And she's like, I like painting. I don't know what to paint. So I just paint white on this canvas. I have hundreds of these. It's just something I do now. And it feels really good.
That's great. I love that. That makes me like very happy. I don't know.
Yeah. Like it's, as like somebody who does art, like trying to do art for a living,
yeah.
That sounds like so strange, but it sounds so nice to be able to just do the action of painting, because sometimes that by itself could just feel good. But yeah, he showed us pictures too, and it was just like white on white strokes, and some were chunky and some were just white.
I love that. That's great.
No pressure, the lowest pressure possible.
Honestly, that's like better than some art statements that I've seen, like in art school. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for following, by the way, Yellow Hat's art. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Cool. All right, let's move on to the next stuff. I also like this pigeon, like there's multiple pigeons. I appreciate the humble pigeon, you know?
Yeah, I like pigeons. I feel like they get so disrespected when like they got the short straw. They live in cities and everybody thinks they're junky, which they kind of are. They're kind of dirty birds, but
they're cute.
I still think they're
I think they're pretty. I also like this what was this series down here? The blob people. I like these.
I don't know what started it. I think like a loose sketch. There was just ballpoint with some eyes in it, and that's kind of that shape. And I think that was me trying to do more abstracted or surreal work, trying to branch out a little bit. And I got those 4 done, and I was like, yeah, this is great. And then I didn't know what else to do with that.
I love the blob people.
Yeah. Yeah, they've always been always had a special place in my heart, but I don't know if I could ever like pull them back. I don't know what else I would do with them.
Cool. All right, let's move to recent works, and hopefully I don't have to rifle through too fast. This one is just, I don't even know how you paint. I don't know. Like you're just like so, it just looks so real. I don't know. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it's a lot of like study. I think I'm always looking at like with hands. Like I paint a lot of hands, and I'm always looking at hands and like their shape, the way light hits them and stuff. And I mean, this painting took me 4 years. So
wow.
It's not like, I mean, I did take like a year off work for like 2 days and then take a year off. So it's not like I worked on it continually for 4 years.
I love this one, though.
It took a long time to figure out what I was going to do with the painting. So I did the hands, and then I was like, oh man, like, I don't want it to just be that, and it took me that long to figure out where I was going.
Yeah. So cool. Did you make up these tattoos?
No, actually, they are from an artist that I like. His name is Barnaby Whitfield, and the flamingos, the bubbles, and the rainbow were elements that I pulled from his artwork.
Oh, cool.
Autobiographical work about the struggles of, like, being gay in a small Florida town and having, like, really repressive parents and stuff. And I think it's, like, a freedom thing, and I don't know where the bubbles come from in his work, but there's always, like, bubbles just kind of around. Yeah, Barnaby Whitfield, he does like pastel, I think, but really cool stuff.
I'll look it up. I like to put, oh, these are sick. I love this.
He just posted a photo of his hands on Instagram one day, and I reached out and was like, I would love to paint these. And yeah, 4 years later. He did see them and said he really, really liked them, so.
Yeah. Oh, his stuff is really cool, too. I just posted a link in the chat for anyone. Yellow Hat Art says, I don't know how they managed to let the painting dry without ending with cat hair all over it, TBH.
Secret. All my paintings come with free cat hair. They all have cat hair in them. I do my best to keep cat hair out. Like, I have tweezers next to my easel because if I see a hair land, I'll pluck it out. But all of my paintings have cat hair in them. There's nothing I could do about it. Even I have a couple small drawers that I'll keep paintings in, and all of them, the cat hair still gets in there.
That's hilarious. I love that. Wow, I can't believe 4 years. That's bonkers.
And it was on my wall the whole time, and if a friend came over, they'd be like, "Hey, you gonna finish that?"
No. All right. Yeah, tell me about this one. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, so that one was a person I reached out to Instagram if I could use their photo. It's actually a jewelry maker, and she makes those earrings.
Ooh.
Full gold, kind of like fluid flowing pieces. Yeah, I painted just like that gradient background, and I thought I was going to paint over it, but I liked it a lot. So I put the circles are actually little masking tape stickers, and I put them down because I wanted to show the background through whatever I was going to paint over it. But once I finished the portrait part, I decided like, actually, I really like the way that background looks. I don't want to change it at all. So the circles on the left side are stickers. The spots on the right are where I peeled the stickers off. And the 3 on the bottom are painted.
I really like the dots. It's super cool. It's very like modern, you know.
Yeah, trying to like mess with as many elements as I can. And that was really fun. And then I painted those little gradients on the side too to go with it.
Yeah, how do you make such smooth gradients?
It's so what I do generally is I'll decide beforehand what the colors are going to be going through it, and I'll mix like steps. So I'll start with one color and then the next one, and then like I don't mix like a bajillion of them. Like that one I maybe did 3 and then kind of blended between them, and I just spend a lot of time just kind of mushing them together. And it takes some knowing of like how your paint will react to other paints. Different pigments do different things, right? So like sometimes I can try and do like a rainbow gradient, and if like 2 colors, if the pigment and the colors don't mesh, it'll gray like really quickly or like look kind of crappy. So I have to just kind of know my colors and mix ahead of time.
Yeah, that is the hardest thing for me about painting is mixing paint. It is just it feels unpredictable to me sometimes. But yeah, it's exactly that. It's just knowing like how things react. Yellow Hat Art says, I always wondered what they study. I don't know why. I feel like they didn't study art. I don't know why. You studied art.
Yeah, so I went to school to be an illustrator. I wanted to do comics, but I think a year and a half in, I had taken like 1 or 2 painting classes, and I went, oh crap, I really like this, and I switched to like the painting degree, but then I ran out of money and dropped out.
Woo! So that's another question. I can just ask you now, like. I had it on my list, but I'll just ask you now. Do you think art school is worth it?
There's a lot of variables, I think.
Yeah.
It really depends what you want out of it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of young people and artists go to art school thinking, like, that's the only way.
Right.
But it depends on what the end goal is. One of the reasons I dropped out was because, like, I was going for fine art painting, and I was like, well, that degree is useless. I don't want to go into debt.
For sure.
But if you want to go for something like graphic design and you don't really have, like, say, like, I struggle with, like, focusing, so school's really helpful to get me to, like, actually do the work.
Right.
To go for something where you're going to get an art-type job, I think it's really helpful. But it really depends, like, person to person.
Yeah.
Like, I have a hard time studying on my own, so having that direction is the way to go. But yeah, it's also just not for everybody, and it's a case-by-case basis.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
It's so.
I think I agree with you on that. It's like, yeah, if you want to be like an arts professor, you probably gotta go to art school. But if you just want to be a painter, maybe not. You know, like.
Exactly.
It really depends. And, like, in my experience, like, sadly, a lot of it depends on your portfolio. And a lot of it depends on, more so than ever, like, Twitter and Instagram. Like, clout.
Yeah, nowadays it kind of can be, definitely. I feel like when we were in school, like, the social media wasn't really, like, a big hype thing as it was. And I can't believe that was like a decade ago, but
I'm old. Yeah. So, yeah. No, I think we're on the same page about that. It really depends. I feel like there's like this idea of like, oh, we go to art school and we'll get a career, and it's like, like.
It's not really how it works. Like, there's no like guaranteed like end goal of school unless like you yourself are making it happen. But I don't regret the time that I did go. Like, I got my, like, the foundations in. Like, I learned, like, a lot of the basics, but I also, like, went with the conviction to learn. Like, I was like, I need to take in as much as I possibly can, where I saw a lot of other people in school were just like, I want to paint what I want to paint. Like, I don't
Right.
want to be here. Well, then don't be here.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like it also, oh, there's Bo, Angel Man. Angel Man. Yeah, it really, I feel like it comes back to like, why does society want us to decide what we want to do, like, when we're 18 years old? Like, these kids don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't know.
That's another huge part of it, and it's like such a massive amount of money.
Yeah.
That, like, I look back at when I was 18 and I was dumb as rocks. Like, it took me a long time to, you know, really figure out what I wanted from life. And even though, like, art has been a staple the whole time, it's still, like, everything else was just, I had no idea what I was doing.
Yeah, and I was, like, so naive about a lot of things, too. It's like, oh, I'm gonna, like, be a famous artist and, like, I'm gonna be in MoMA. And it's like, even the artists who are in MoMA, like, can't make a living off of that. Like, I don't know.
There's like no guarantee, and like art school's not a guarantee either. But
sure. My dog just walked up to me and she's covered in rain. Hello, ma'am. Yellow Hat Art says, how do they keep learning? I mean, there are a lot of online resources nowadays, but how to know where to go? I feel like it's a lot of like online and books and just like practicing. Finding groups of people to, like, bounce your ideas off of helps a lot, too.
Yeah, thankfully, with the rise of social media, I think that's been incredibly helpful to find avenues to learn. Like, if you follow a lot of artists on Instagram, one of them will be posting about classes, or one of them will be posting about an online workshop. Like, I try to, like, gear my online presence to lead me in directions of learning, because it can be daunting because there is a lot of info out there and it's hard to know like where to go. Like with YouTube, you never know if a video is going to be bunk or not.
Yeah.
But as far as like finding direct avenues to learn, I think look at artists that you admire. And you don't necessarily need to like pay for an artist class, but look at the work that they do and like study their work, and then like see what kind of things they've done. But yeah, there is a lot of free info, thankfully, with YouTube and like other directions. But just look at other artists and like artists that you admire, I think, and figure out like what to do. Like figure drawing classes like locally, even though you can't really do them right now, is always good. There's online ones that are free. Doing like poses and studying. Studying the things that you want to do. Yeah, but it takes a lot of self-conviction.
I was just gonna say, I think that's good advice. Like, not the same thing, but like when I was starting streaming, I feel like I was just like, I'm just gonna copy what everyone else is doing.
Like, yeah, and that can be a great way to learn.
Yeah.
Like when I was first starting like doing artwork and like drawing regularly, I was in high school, and I literally just like sat down and like copied pictures, and you know, trying to like sell those or anything, and that was just like me learning how to make an image. And that's and I'm learning video editing right now, and I like watch other people's videos and I see what works and use that to inform the decisions I make when I make something else.
Or like my brief stint in game design school, like the first thing they make you do, they just have you remake Pong. You know, it's like the classics keep going for a reason, which, you know, I think even like my first year of photo school, like they were like, oh, go recreate like a famous photograph, you know, that kind of stuff. It's like copying can be really good for foundation. Obviously you can't sell it like you were saying, but
yeah, it's still it's always a learning tool. I have a painting on my wall over there from art school that was a master copy of a painter I like, and it's honestly one of my favorite paintings that I've done, but it's literally just a copy of a artist that I already like. But I learned a lot from it, and I still look at that painting and I go, oh, okay, like this is why that works. And it's like an eye for like looking at stuff, like learning the physical skill of like how to do things, and then like the visual skill of like why things work. And yeah, it's a lot of just I think about art all the time.
Yeah.
That's how I learn. I think about it all the time.
Or like, I don't know how many people are familiar with this in the chat, but like when you go to like a big art museum like the Met in New York City, or like I went on like a high school trip to the big art museum in Spain when I was a kid. But when you go there, there's like usually a couple artists there painting pictures from another picture. And they're copying like these famous works of art because it's like a really good practice to see like these paintings in real life. So I don't know. I feel like there's this very like online thing right now of like, don't use reference, like be careful, like don't copy other people. But it's like you just have to be careful, and it can be really helpful. Yeah.
Totally. Like the like don't use reference thing. I don't know where that came from.
Me either.
Because reference is honestly the most helpful thing you can possibly have. Like it's fine to like make stuff up, but it'll only get you so far.
Yeah.
And then yeah, as far as like sharing it online, as long as you say like this is a copy, this is like a study, that's like if you're not selling it, like that's cool.
Yeah.
Like you're using it to learn, and that's how the old masters learn.
Exactly.
Like, they've been doing it for years. Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, we've been on this one for a while. Let's go to the next one. Is this one really small? This one looks like it's small to me. Maybe I'm...
It's 8 by 8 inches, I think.
Okay, so it is a little smaller.
It's pretty small. It has more like tiny detail than I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
But it was when talking about copying, so this was a draw this in your style.
Oh, yeah.
So those are also super fun to do, and I really like doing those because it makes me do something I don't normally do or would have chosen to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I still really like this was really fun. Like executing like the different parts of it was like super fun. The gold was great.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's cool to do those, and those are also very helpful because it's a different style, and you can apply it to the way that you work is really helpful.
Yeah, how do you do those tiny details with the brush? It's just like it's just like one hair thick.
It's just like the lightest touch, really.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'll even use brushes that are too big for what I'm doing, but as long as you have a light touch, it's okay. I spend a lot of time just like hovering over the spot I'm about to work on, just like, okay, gotta get it in the right spot, gotta get it, and then I'll do it.
Yeah, painting's stressful. That's what I mean. It's like you're doing like the tiniest little thing, and you're like, if I fuck this up, the whole painting is ruined. You're just like, ah.
And I don't want to fool anybody. I mess up a lot, but
right.
Paint is forgiving in the fact that you can paint over stuff,
yeah.
or you can with oil paint. You can like smoosh it around and
yeah.
kind of get it to where you want it. But yeah, there's a lot of mistakes in the process.
Painting's hard. Oh no, they dropped. One sec. Sorry, folks. They'll come back in just a sec. Are you back? Are you back, V? They warned me.
Hi, sorry about
It's okay. I was like, they warned me that this might happen. Let's see. Are you back? Let's see. Nope. One sec. I gotta click. Sometimes Discord's a little fickle. There we go. Ta-da!
Yeah, I don't know why, but it does that to me sometimes. It
happens. I told this story last night on stream, but I did a stream and I was accidentally muted for like a half an hour and I didn't know. So like, it's all good. Okay, let's go to the next one. I really like the colors on this one. It's super pretty.
Thank you. Yeah, that's another one where I pulled the reference from Instagram. Just messaged somebody, hey, can I like use this as reference? But the background is actually a sunset I saw when it was there was a bunch of fires in Oregon, and we went to the coast. The air was like very smoky, but the sunset was like extra good because of it.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Cat hair in my face.
Feel ya. I have that problem too. Lots of cat hair just floating around.
Yeah, my cat's still in my lap, so it's just coming up.
I just love your use of color. Like, do you kind of like have an idea in your head before you start of what colors you're going to use, or do you like wing it, or is it kind of like a mixture of things?
It's a mixture. Sometimes I'll have like a base idea, but oftentimes when I'm mixing my colors, it doesn't go exactly how I planned.
Feel ya.
Just kind of like work with that.
Yeah.
Like that, those sunset colors, like I tried to get them as close as possible, but they're still like vastly different from the image. And oftentimes that is the case where I do try to do it, but as long as the like colors aren't like clashing or anything, I just kind of go with what I end up with.
Yeah. And then just tell everyone that it was on purpose. That's what I do.
Oh yeah, totally.
This one also looks a little smaller than the other one, but
yes, 4x6.
Oh wow,
so,
yeah, that's.
Yeah, I was that one was I'm gonna do a quick little study, and then I spent one whole day on it, like
Oh wow.
non-stop. I sat down, I was like maybe like an hour or two, and then I spent like a good 10 hours. Just...
Oh my god.
Oops.
Whoops. Oopsie poopsie. Is this just someone on Instagram too?
That's actually somebody from TikTok.
Aw, I really like this one. I feel like you're very good at capturing like expressions too. Like this is a very like nice soft.
Yeah, that's something I try to work on, because very often in my art, and like a lot of people's art, is just kind of plain faced expressions and like plain, which I add a lot of the color to add that to like images, but yeah, doing expressions is a lot harder.
Yeah.
And like in school we learn to draw the face by people posing for us, and they have the most blank expression.
Right.
It's the default, but it doesn't look great all the time.
Yeah.
And so like a little bit of spice can help a lot.
For sure. I think painters should collaborate with photographers more, honestly, for like reference, because you get a little bit more like life out of people in photography generally, I've found.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Once again, reference.
Yep.
If you're using like really nice reference, you can get really great expression.
For sure.
One of my favorite series of, I think they're actually drawings. Oh shoot, I'm totally blanking on the artist, but the series is called, I think, Men in the City, or like Men at Work, and it's a person who did a collaboration with a photographer where he launched tennis balls at these businessmen on this roof, and so it's these like really weird poses of them like jumping and like moving, and they're all very odd. They're like really high class people with like suits and ties, and like women's in like really fancy dresses and heels, but in like,
I'm trying to find it. I'll have to look it up later. That's funny. I love that.
His name's like Mondo
or
something.
Mondo.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but they're from like the 90s, and they're in like big name galleries. But I always really like that series of work because the poses are very expressive and unique, and it's not something you do see in a lot of art because they were taken from photographs.
Let's see. Lucy, stop barking. Stop. Andrew Loomis. I don't know. Let me look it up. I don't think it's Andrew Loomis. Unless this is a different Andrew Loomis. But alright. Let's go forth. Tell me about this painting.
Yeah, so that was a commission from a good friend of mine to give to somebody. And so my friend is a clown. Like, he performs professionally as a clown.
That's
and so this
sick.
is a fellow clown friend of his. And yeah, he gave me just like a list of things that he wanted, which was chrysanthemums, willow tree, a halo of almonds, and then no spiders, which if you like look down on the bottom right on her shirt, I made a little tiny, like very faint image of a spider with a little cross through it.
No spiders.
Yeah. So he just like asked her, like, what's your favorite tree? What's your favorite flower? What's your favorite food? And do you like spiders? And that's how the prompt for the painting came to be, which was just so good.
Beautiful.
I love just all the random crap added in there.
That's great.
That was a super, super fun prompt. That was a very, very enjoyable commission.
I love it.
Thankfully, I get fun commissions, but that one was like particularly a cool one to like kind of plan out and then execute.
Yeah, I really like this thing. It's just like, what is happening? It's great.
Yeah, if like somebody hadn't asked me to do that, I would never do something like that. Like I would
Right.
never like put elements together, but they just work.
Right, yeah. Yeah, I love that one. It's super kooky. I was like, what is going on here? I was like, is this a juggalo?
Yeah, without context, it's just a very strange paint.
Right. It's great though. I love it. I love this one too. Look at this Boyd.
That's a picture I think the Audubon Society posted online like years ago, and I took a screenshot of it, and it was just like, one day I'm going to make this into a piece of. I always thought it was a really, really wonderful image, so I decided to use it. And I love drawing fabric. It's like, to get it to look just right is really difficult, and I like that challenge.
How do you decide like the kind of like framing you put around stuff? Is it kind of the same? You just kind of like see how it looks and just kinda, yeah.
I think for this one, I was like, okay, this needs a border. Like I decided on the central image, and then I was like, okay, I need to add something else. And oftentimes I'll like scroll through Instagram to find like other artwork that has like similar images or similar like details that I like, and I'll pull from that and like tweak it and do different things with it to kind of figure out where I want to go with it. Yeah, I think I decided on the border, and then the like inner color circles I added because I was like, it needs more. And that's really it. I just look at it and decide like, oh, it needs more stuff, and then I'll just shuffle around till I figure out like what works. Like I just stare at the artwork and I'm like, okay, like maybe this, no, maybe this, no. And I'll spend like half an hour just like staring closely at a half-finished like piece until I figure out like what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah, this is like mixed media. Yeah, looks like a pencil. Yeah,
it's a ballpoint and gouache.
Gouache. Okay, I've never used gouache. Do you like gouache?
I've only used it a little bit. I think it's a really cool medium that thankfully a lot of people are using now because it was underrated for a long ass time. But it's cool because you can get really flat, solid color. It's what's used in like old school illustration,
right?
And we're actually taught color theory in college with gouache because it dries so.
Yeah,
and you can get like the paint is always opaque, unlike watercolor where it's like wishy-washy, and like even acrylics can be transparent sometimes. Gouache is always opaque, unless you water it down. But it's really, really good for color, and I like that.
Is that like that? I'm assuming that's kind of like what they used in like old school like animation cells, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So it's gouache and flash paint, which flash is a like vinyl version of kind of the same thing, where it's opaque. And those two were used with animation and then painting. Gouache, I think, is specifically what they used for painting background images for animation.
Cool. Now I kind of want to try some gouache. That sounds good to me because I honestly I don't really like I like watercolor for its own thing, but I do like it just being like, you know, not as many layers. Yeah. I like that.
It's cool to use in conjunction with it because you can also water down gouache to work just like watercolor, which is cool. An opaque watercolor, it's the exact same medium. They actually add, I believe it's marble dust to get it to be opaque and solid. So it doesn't have as high of a saturation, but it's it's flat and dense.
Cool. All right, let's go. Hopefully. Am I gonna go to the naked one? Not yet. Okay. So to me this is like an evolution of your previous work, kind of like the like the face blobs. This is like the next step.
Yeah. So this is another one of I was trying to do like a more abstracted thing. And I was in a phase of really, really loving painting those like pearl tears.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna do a whole lot of them.
Yeah, they remind, like, in the 90s, there was, like, a 60s resurgence, and every kid had, like, those, like, 60s, like, you walk through the bead curtain or whatever. It reminds me of that.
Yeah.
It's great. Also, like, kind of reminds me of, like, a Rothko or something, like, just, like, the colors.
Yeah, the color block.
Yeah, the blocking.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one where, like, the colors actually, like, didn't blend very well. Like, that purple didn't mix with the pink that I was using, and so I, like, actually made it kind of like a sharp cut instead of doing, like, I had intended to do it more, like, of a gradient. So there's actually, like, a third color that I mixed just to be in there, and then I kind of blended that one into it, which is how I pulled off just that, like, soft gradient, because or else those colors would not have mixed properly.
Right.
Which is, like, I had to paint over some mess-ups underneath.
It happens. Oh no. Oh no. Eh, this one's fine, probably. I won't risk it though. I'll skip it. Is this like Greek? Am I right?
So I used an image of a statue from the god. I think it's not. He's not even a god. It's just like a statue of like a demigod. Antinos, I think, is the name of the guy. And he was just some hot dude that a guy took favor on and was like, "You're gonna be my baby," and made him a demigod to live with him forever. And yeah, that's where the hair came from. I loved the way it looked on that statue, and I wanted to recreate it. But yeah, I just liked a bunch of imagery and just slapped it all together.
Yeah, I love the cracking around the neck. That's super cool.
Yeah, I wanted to pull like the statue feel into it a little bit, or else it just looked too much just like a face.
Yeah.
So I wanted to bring that statue-ness back into it.
And it's you! It's you!
That was a self-tape I did last year.
Yeah, it's super nice. I love the pastel colors. It's great.
Yeah, that was really, really fun to do. Except it like feels very strange staring at your own face for like a couple. But it's actually, for me, it's easier to do self-portraits than it is to do paintings of other people.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's less pressure to not make a person. Like if I'm doing like a commission, I'm like, oh my god, I have to get it just right, because if I mess it up, I'm gonna think it looks weird. Whereas like painting myself is easier because I know my own face and I'm not afraid of like it being strange.
Right. You don't care if like your own self-portrait looks bad, but if you're doing it for someone else, you don't want them to feel like ugly, you know, quote unquote. It's just like, oh god.
It's a weird like line to ride with doing commission paintings. It's like, okay, like I want to paint them as they are. Like I like to do really realistic portraits, but there can always be like awkward things about people that they might not like notice on themselves that a painting can pull out, whether it's like a crooked nose or like a butt chin or something where somebody might not notice, and then you paint it and they're like, oh, do I really look like that? Like, yeah, like I painted this.
I totally know what you mean. That's like the same thing when you photograph someone. I feel like it's way easier because then I'm just like, here's like 100 pics. I hope you like one.
Oh gosh, yeah. At least they can choose with this.
Yeah.
Like, it's and I have had people ask me to like tweak some stuff, which it's normally like not like terrible, but it's also like, oh, I look like that, but it's whatever. It's the nature of like showing somebody a picture of themselves,
right?
Whether it be or a photograph.
All right, let us move on. So this is also toned paper, right?
Yes. So that's I don't draw on it a lot anymore, but it's one of my favorite things to draw on, and it's called craft paper, and it's like a recycled just brown paper.
Mm-hmm.
It just got like a nice feel to it. It's like slightly textured, and the color is really cool.
Yeah, I really like the color. It's very pleasing.
Yeah, it's just like paper bag.
Yeah.
But
it's like paper bag, but like one step up from paper bag.
Totally.
My friend Sophia says, when I look back at one of the strongest early pieces of evidence of me being trans was my extreme reaction to a self-portrait assignment. Mood.
That's... I feel that. It's looking at yourself and having to, like, really study your face.
Right.
It brings forth a lot of features that, like, you might not necessarily be comfortable with either, too.
Yeah. Or, like, I don't know if you have this experience, but if I look at a picture of someone for a long period of time, I'm sure you've experienced this, where you're like, I don't even recognize this person anymore. Just like,
totally.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, your brain does weird stuff.
Yeah, it becomes kind of like an amalgamation of parts and bits instead of just a face. Which, like, when I'm working on a portrait, like, that's kind of how I have to approach it anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it becomes, like, little bits of an image versus a whole. But, yeah, that, like, the face just kind of, like, unbecoming a face. I get it.
It's just, like, it's weird to, like, go from, like, your brain... It's weird when your brain can see something like how you used to see it. Like, you're seeing someone for the first time or something, you know what I mean? It's very...
Totally.
Perception is weird. I don't know.
Yeah, and being, like, a painter and having to be, like, hyper aware of your perception is... Yeah. It just makes it, like, more complicated.
You get very, like, philosophical in your own head. You're just like... Do I really look like this? Like, ah! I love this one. This is Bad Bunny, right?
Yeah.
That's great. I love this one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, just a completely lighthearted painting where I was just like, you know what? Like, I'll paint a celebrity.
Honestly, I love that. It's so cute too. Like, I love the little like kind of like scribbly like things, and he's great. We stand Bad Bunny in this house.
Yeah, he's an unproblematic fave. But yeah, I like scratched out the little doodles like on his body, and like anywhere like on his face, like that highlight is actually like scratched away.
Cool.
Like the rim of his is all scratched, which is something I had never done before either. But I was like just playing around.
Yeah. No, I've done that a couple times of like scratching stuff into oil paintings. It's super cool. It's kind of like hard to pull off because you're like, once again, it's like, am I gonna ruin this whole painting?
Yes, and that's weird. And I think on this one, that's why I was like, I'm willing to do it because it's like just a painting of just like a hot guy, right. Essentially. Like, there's no value to it other than it's just like a hot celebrity. So it's like, you know, just like scratch some shit, and I try to make it like relevant to him, like the like letters or the name of like his album that just came out, and then there's like a bunny, Bad Bunny, and then Benito is his name. It's like, okay, so shit, but for the most part, I was just like, I'll just mess with it.
Did he see it? Do you know?
I don't think so. Like it got pretty like far on Instagram. Like it had a lot of traction, but he's also, you know, got like 1 million followers, and people probably tag him and stuff like all damn day.
True.
I know somebody did paint a painting of him. Just some girl was just like, I want to paint this like image of him, and he saw that one, reached out and bought it for $5,000, and it was just a teenager that was just like, I love Bad Bunny, let me paint this, and he bought it, which was awesome.
You're like, please, sir.
Yeah. Me too.
Over here. Hello. I love this one. This one's one of my favorites. I love this one. Yeah! There he is.
Same little plant in it.
Celebrity sighting. I love that one. It's super cute.
Yeah, sometimes I just need to paint fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta paint a frog. It's so cute.
Definitely, and like I'd only try to paint things that I want to paint, but sometimes I just need to paint something that's like a little more goofy than normal.
Yeah, I think that's totally reasonable. Oh no! All right.
Nudity.
Hopefully it'll be fine. This one seems like very different than your other ones.
Yeah. Well, last year there was like a popular like redraw this, and it was just a screenshot of Sailor Moon, and like everybody was drawing this, like it's just a screenshot from the show, and I don't know, I got on the hype train, and I was all about it. I used to watch Sailor Moon when I was young, and actually got my start doing art by drawing anime characters.
Aww, classic.
Yep. So my first like sketchbook was horses first.
Hell
and then
yeah.
Like the like cheesiest, like quintessential, like how I got started drawing is horses and then anime.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of a little bit of like a throwback for myself to be like, gotta remember your roots.
Right. I also really, really love drawing horses. So, mood.
Yeah. There's something about them. I don't know what it is, but they're really fun to draw.
They're majestic. They're a little bit dangerous, you know. A lot of it's like, I'm not like other... I felt like a lot of it when I was a kid was like, I'm not like other girls. Like, I could ride a horse. Like, I'm different.
Even though, like, now, like, horse girl is, like, a cliche.
Yeah,
too.
right? It's like, I don't know. I just think it's funny. Ah, yes.
I love it.
Snake again.
Yes. Hands and snakes.
Is this a Quetzal?
Yeah, Quetzalcoatl. It was for a show at a gallery that was all about, like, mythological creatures. Yeah, my family's from Central America, so I had to, like, pull some. I was like, I don't have, like, any family-based myths. And I was like, oh, wait, like, if I go way back.
Way back.
But yeah, that was I don't know where I got the, like, layout of it with the hand, but I really, really love how the image turned out.
Yeah.
And painting scales is a pain in the butt.
Yeah, I can imagine. It sounds very tedious.
Oh yeah, I try not to do it as much anymore, even though I love snake imagery and I think they make amazing elements for paintings because you can move them in any way, shape, or form. But there's just so much work.
I watch this YouTube channel about snakes, and they breed scaleless snakes. You need to start painting the scaleless snakes.
Yeah.
It's the galaxy brain.
They just squishy tubes.
Yeah, basically.
It's a study of a skull that I have. I have a couple like coyote skulls and playing with different like elements and colors.
I'm out of focus. Why am I out of focus? Hello? Sorry, one sec. My camera is being finicky. There we go.
Yeah.
I love technology when they, you know, reset my settings every single time I do something. But
yeah, it's fun, and no matter what you do, there's like not a button or anything that can just stop that from happening. Just figure it out.
The one nice thing about like Apple, the one nice thing is like it's not as fiddly as like PCs where it's like everything is breaking, but it's okay.
Yeah, I'm just on like a laptop on
Yeah.
a PC. There's just like so many things that can go wrong that is just like one tiny little option hidden away
Right.
under like 5 like settings.
Definite learning curve here, but this one's my favorite. I love this painting so much.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites too. I feel like it's like not like my peak, but it's something that like I feel like I pulled off something really awesome with that piece.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I'm a big fan of that piece of mine.
I love this one. It's very whimsical. I love dogs. I don't know. The colors are good. It's just solid. I love this one.
Yeah, and the sale of it went to a good cause too. It was in a show about endangered and extinct species, and it raised money for the Audubon Society.
Cool.
And some lady in Canada bought it and got to make a donation to the Audubon Society, which is nice.
That's awesome. How big was this one?
24 by 36.
Oh,
I
wow.
believe.
Okay, so it's bigger.
3. I'm pretty sure it's Yeah. So it is bigger, and I don't work that big that
Yeah,
often. But it was at a gallery that I had always wanted to show at, and so I was like, well, go big or go home.
that's
I
so
got like
cool.
a impression, yeah. So
Yeah,
I went bigger, which worked for it too. I think the like scale of it like fit really nicely, and
yeah.
everything turned out like pretty nice because of it.
I feel like people want to buy that size too.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of like standard for
Yeah,
artwork, gallery artwork, just because people like will look in and see like something
yeah,
that size. Like smaller artwork's really nice because you can like go up and look at it and study it, but
right.
to see something across the room, like it makes more of an impact, I think,
Yeah,
when it's like large.
they want it to draw you in.
Yeah, totally. And like there's still like plenty of like little details in that, even though it is looser also than a lot of other work that I do. Like
Right.
normally the small stuff has like a ton of teeny tiny details, and this one really only has detail like around their face,
Yeah.
and like the little stars that go along the background. But yeah, it is a lot looser than normal.
Cool. I love that. That one's probably my favorite one.
Yeah.
Is it?
This
Is this bird have a band-aid?
no, it's a type of albatross, and they have this like
Ah.
little peachy stripe on the back of their neck.
Oh, cute.
That also went to raise money for the Audubon Society. It was a tandem with the other one, the dog painting. The show was like half like endangered species and then half endangered birds.
Oh, are they they're separate?
No, it was just for the
Okay.
show. 'Cause there's the gallery that they were in. There's actually two galleries owned by the same people, and
Mm-hmm.
they're next door to each other, and so they'll separate the
Oh.
shows by like specific themes. And so this one was like one half was
Mm.
birds and one half was just everything else.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love the star.
Oh,
It's very,
yes, I love stars.
I don't know. It's just like very mysterious.
Yeah, I mean, albatross are really mysterious. We don't really actually know a lot about them. You know, they're gigantic birds
They're
that
huge.
just fly forever. Yeah, they're like 6 foot wingspan. It's like seeing pictures of them next to people is the weirdest thing. They come up to like here.
Really?
They're just like, yeah.
That's great. This one, I own a print of this one, so I'm a little biased.
Yeah.
And I love Midsommar, so I love this one.
Yeah, that was after I saw that, I was like, I have to do fan art of this movie. Like, I can't resist.
I must.
It's just so beautiful. Like, I did a piece for Hereditary as well because there's just so much amazing imagery in those two movies. And yeah, for Midsommar, there's just a lot of like little details that I really liked.
Yeah, it's it's a beautiful film. Yeah, Borzoi.
Yeah, I that's actually one of my favorite paintings, but I think it might just be I love that paint color, that purple, and then with gold, is just it makes me feel good.
Yeah, it's a very it's like a very pleasure like what was it? I was about to say pleasuresome. It's very pleasing to the eye. That purple.
It's like a really royal regal color,
Yeah.
and it's like really deep. And yeah, it's like called dioxazine,
Hmm.
I think. It's some weird synthetic purple, but it's one of my faves. And yeah, I think that this painting is like only that color with white.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
so, like straight out of the tube, it's like has like a reddish hue to it, but as soon as you mix it with white, it kind of like turns more blue
Hmm.
on that like end. Um, yeah, it's
Neat.
a color.
That's
Yeah.
super cool. Oh, we're back to the beginning. This is a good time for me to take a bathroom break. So let me go do that, and we'll be back in like 5 minutes. All right.
Awesome.
All right. 1 sec. 1 sec, guys. All right, we're back.
Yay.
All right, now comes the part of the show where I ask you questions. Asking questions. How long have you been painting?
Since I was in high school, I was very rudimentary when I was a teenager, so at least 13, 14 years I've been painting
Oh,
regularly.
wow.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in high school, it was just garbage, but, you gotta start somewhere.
Exactly. As Jake from Adventure Time says, the first step at being kind of good at something is sucking, or whatever,
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly believe that. Like, you really have to start crappy and then work your way up.
Right.
Yeah. Which, like, I look back at my middle school, high school drawings and go, ugh. But,
Yeah.
start somewhere.
I gotta scroll to a non-nudity part. All right. Let's see. So I already kind of asked you this. Your personal favorite pieces.
So that recent one with the hands, the red one, just because it was like such a long endeavor to get it done, and then, yeah, that one, and then,
The Borzoi one.
Yeah, just the color on that one just like gets me every time.
it's super nice. Purple's my favorite color, so I'm just like, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Anything with dogs.
Yeah, that piece holds a special place in my heart. I think it was like a turning point for my artwork of like finding actually where I wanted to go with like what I was doing.
Right.
At least my like more effort, higher end art versus like I can still paint like literally whatever I want, but for the stuff that like I'm gonna spend like lots and lots of time on, I think that set kind of the direction of where I wanted to go.
Yeah. Makes sense. That's a boring. I'm gonna skip that one. Who are some artists that you admire?
Alive or dead, or both?
Both.
Okay. So one of my favorite old painters is Jean-Léon Gérôme, who he was I think the movement is called like Orientalism. So he would go to say like the Middle East and paint like a lot of like beautiful like Persian and like Serbian artwork with like tiles and a lot of like there's a couple famous images of his that are like the Carpet Merchant, which is it's like this long piece with a guy standing on a balcony with like rugs, these like beautiful Persian rugs hanging down and like a bunch of people bidding on them, but there's all these details of like all these details of like just like intricate little things, and in this like beautiful like room that's all these like fancy tiles and stuff, just like really really well done, and all these like tiny details and these beautiful compositions. Like him, there's John Singer Sargent, who's like a lot more people are familiar with his work, like very classic painting. Some modern painters, there is a Italian painter named Roberto Ferri who does actually stuff in a more traditional like way. Like his stuff looks like it could have been painted in the late 1800s, and he actually uses the same materials and methods, but he does a lot of like Gothic imagery and like myths.
Ooh.
And he does religious paintings, but they're very dark and bleak and like kind of like spooky. And I mentioned earlier, there's a master copy that I did in college that I still have, and it's one of my favorites, and it's one of his, and it's of a centaur that's like pulling a chain out of his chest, and it's all it's limited palette, so it's very like neutral toned and dark, which is really really cool. And his artwork was very influential to me when I was younger, and I used to paint in a lot more limited colors. The like highly saturated stuff only came about in the last few years.
Right.
I used to do like dark art and like let's see. There is a figure painter named Jeremy Mann who is from San Francisco, which is how I know him. I saw a gallery show of his, and he does these very painterly figures that from far away, like they look like very refined, but you go up and it's like these big chunky bits. And he has like very, very, also very dark and like limited palette. Let's see, Jenny Seville.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of her.
She does figurative work, a lot of like really unique like femme and female figures. She does a lot of like heavier women and these like really weird poses. She uses like really like intense brush strokes. And there's a couple portraits of hers that look gory, that I think are just like so striking. And like I don't know how she does it, but there's these like really weird looking faces that they're like beautiful and like gross at the same time. And I love it.
Yeah. I'm looking. I posted all of the artists that you listed in the chat. Yeah, I like her stuff a lot.
Yeah, I saw her work in high school, and it imprinted on me really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I've always been a fan of her stuff since then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are like some. I mean, those are all like really big name artists. Those are all people that have like made it, but there are a lot of like, I guess, up and coming artists. I don't know what you call.
Yeah.
Like, my level where I'm just like, I make art.
I
like,
make
I'm
art.
Not, like, showing all over the world. But there's some artists like Ray Klein. I think her name's Nicole Ray Klein. I found her on Instagram, and she has very unique work that has like a lot of like brush strokes and like scraping away of paint, and it's like looks very like emotional and intense. And I really, really like her work. Like everybody I named paints with like super limited palette, but there is a woman named Adrian Stein who she paints. I don't even know how she uses color, but it's so gorgeous. All of her paintings have like every color of the rainbow like in like a face. Super, super gorgeous use of color that I don't understand, and I'm super admirable of her. And she's somebody that I look to when I want to figure out like what colors to use in a painting, because she uses just like these crazy gorgeous colors.
Jacaranda Bear says, who was that? Which artist was that? Who was the first one you mentioned? The older one?
Jean-Leon Jerome.
Yeah, they said Jean-Leon Jerome, his style is interesting. The characters in his paintings almost look disconnected from their surroundings. That's what someone mentioned from looking at them. I guess that kind of makes sense, because I feel like in the Orientalist style, it's very much like, oh, like, this is weird. Like, it's very like kind of like an outsider lens, you know?
It totally is,
Yeah.
and that is something that you have to acknowledge when you look at paintings like that, because they're mostly like 99% done by white dudes going to areas to then bring back to like Western Europe as spectacle.
Yeah.
I mean, he lived in these areas for like a really long time and like studied a lot, and so his stuff is like slightly more accurate representation than a lot of Orientalists, but it's still like, you still got to know that like it's just a white dude looking at somebody's culture and going, oh, cool, it's different.
Yeah, I feel like that could be like why Jacaranda is kind of reading like the disconnected aspect of it, though. That's my artist opinion. But yeah, I totally get what you mean. That I feel like that's a thing in like some portraiture, like like old masters stuff. Like people kind of look a little stiff because they probably had to stand there for a long time to pose.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, with his artwork and a lot of other people in the same kind of class of artists, they would go to those places and like do small studies and then go back home and then do the full painting. So it often looks like a little weird. Like they don't, like it seems kind of natural, but also like you look at it a little bit closely and you're like, okay, like this doesn't quite make sense.
Right.
It's still incredibly well done.
For
and
sure.
That's the part that I love about it, is that like the like racism is like it is racist. It's why people like ogling other cultures. Like the paintings are incredibly well done.
Yeah. I have the same thing where I like really like a lot of like the old masters stuff, but then I'm like, you know, it's definitely not politically correct, but I still like appreciate it, you know.
Totally. And that is something that like with older artwork, that is something that you have to be like conscious of.
Yeah.
And yeah, there are some like problematic faves of like painters from back in the day.
Right.
You know, it's something that is still common in a lot of artwork too.
Yeah.
Somebody called out a painting that I shared on Instagram that was just it was just like some random page that shares people's artwork, but they shared this guy's artwork that he does like Renaissance style paintings of like figures in like religious context. But I didn't realize when I saw the paintings, but they're like super anti-Semitic.
Right.
So, like,
Yeah.
Like that's clearly like a Jewish person being persecuted. I was like,
Right.
oops, like, oh shit. I had no idea, but it was a modern painter.
Yeah.
They still do that shit.
I had a similar thing where I was like showing my wife, I was like, what is that? I've never seen a painting like this before. And she was like, that's anti-Semitic. And I was like, oh, maybe that's why I haven't seen a painting like this before. Like, there's a bunch of weird stuff in like classic painting that, like they'll like sneakily be like, oh, it's just Christian art. And you're like, I don't know.
No, it's actually like racial allegory.
Right. Yeah.
If you know what you're looking for, it's like not so subtle. But if you don't, like, you could just do the same thing.
Right. Exactly. Next question: what is the best artistic advice you've ever received?
Oh, so this is something that like I received very directly from a painter that I mentioned that I went to his gallery show, Jeremy Mann. At the time, I had just dropped out of art school and I was working at a pet store in San Francisco, and I had just gotten some commissions to paint people's pets and cats, and it was really the only painting I was doing at the time. And I was really like kind of embarrassed by it because I approached this painter that I was like super into his work. I asked him to sign my sketchbook. I was like, your stuff's amazing. I'm super inspired. And he asked like, so what do you paint? And I was like, ugh, like right now I really just do these like pet commissions. And he was like, to be real with you, like before I was here, I worked at an animal shelter and all I painted was like pet commissions too, and it got me here.
Yeah,
like there's no shame in it. And so he signed my sketchbook with his name and then paint cats.
Wow. Aw, that's really sweet. Aww.
That at the time, that was probably like the best advice I could get. Yeah. Like if you want to do art as a career, like sometimes you have to do things that like it's not where you want to be, but you know you still gotta. There's no shame in doing that either.
You just gotta paint cats.
Yeah, just paint cats. But yeah, that was like the only, I think, like really, really helpful advice somebody has ever like said to my face.
Yeah.
Like there's stuff that like I've kind of figured out along the way, but that was the first time somebody had said something to me that like clicked.
Yeah. I think that's great because I feel like people, I don't know, like you try to like legitimize your art and then you like get caught in this trap where you're like, well, I'm too good to do whatever. And it's like, but who cares? Like,
yeah,
draw cats.
You want to be big time, but you're not. Like, you have to go through it, and it's like any other kind of a job. Like, you work your way up. Yeah. Like, if you want to be a professional artist, sometimes you still have to like flip burgers before you can be a manager.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, here's a fun one I saved for later. What do you think about fine art? In quotes.
Oh man, so it's something I struggle with because like there's so much context and connotation, and it's the fine art world is such a load of hooey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like when people ask me what I do, I like in person I'm like, I'm a painter, like ugh, like please don't attach this fine art garbage to me, please. Like I paint because I like to paint and I make pretty stuff.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to be in MoMA making super conceptual stuff, and while it has its own place, like I struggle with what it means and what its place is in the world.
Right. And I mean I've been around in like the fancy art world, and like a lot of it is kind of just smoke and mirrors. Like no one is making as much money as you think. Like people at Vice make like maybe $35K a year, You know, it's like people are getting paid way low, artists are getting way low-balled, and then it's like fucking Jeff Koons is just shipping off shit to China to have people make it for him. It's just fake. I don't know.
There's a lot of problems with like fine art and the way that the high-end art world works.
Yeah.
I've got a million problems with it. Whether it be just like a lot of fine art world is just people laundering money back and forth.
Exactly. It's like the mafia. I mean, I don't know, but it, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just fake. Like, it's, nothing is real. It's like fake money.
Yeah, no, totally. And, I mean, like, the whole rise of NFTs have really just proven that it's just a place for people to toss around money in the name of art, but it doesn't really do much for art.
Exactly.
It's been like that for a long time,
Yeah.
though, too. Pretty much since, I don't want to blame, like, the rise of modernism, but, like, that was when it became a really big thing. But it's also always been a thing.
Yeah.
Considering, like, 500 years ago, the only people who could commission artwork were the hyper-rich.
Right.
And then those just became basically just big checks that got passed around.
Yeah. Exactly. This question was from my wife when I showed her your painting. She wanted to ask, how does the sacred interact with your art?
Ooh, you know, I don't know. So a lot of my artwork edges on, like, a lot of symbology and, like, metaphor.
Yeah.
As far as when it comes to its creation, I really just make artwork because I like the way it looks.
Yeah. Philia.
So that's been something that it's always funny to admit, because a lot of people come to my artwork and say, like, oh, this really spoke to me, or like this resonated with me for like such and such a reason, and I'll be like, that's just a pretty painting, man.
That's great.
You know, there is elements to my artwork that I always like symbols that I always put in like repetition, like they don't like really actually mean much to me, and it's like kind of shameful to admit, but like
I don't think so. I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and that is something that you also have to think about with artwork. Like everybody that looks at it does their own thing. Like they pull all their own like thoughts behind it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not just like I can make an image, but everybody that looks at it is going to think something different about it.
Right. Sorry, you froze for a sec. Let's see if it comes. Oh no! Let's see if they come back. Discord's being a butt.
I'm here.
Yay, you're back. Okay. Cool. Yeah, no, I get what you mean. It's like there's this notion of like, oh, everything needs to have like meaning and stuff, but sometimes it really just is aesthetic, and that's totally fine.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't enjoy reading too much into my own thing. It's something that I struggle with, but I do like seeing it in other artwork though.
Yeah.
Like seeing the allegory and things. I just don't like to think too much.
That's totally fair. All right. Less art related stuff. Who's the best Stardew character?
Ooh, shoot, well, so are we talking like Bachelor, Bachelorette, or just character
Just in general.
overall?
Just in general.
Man, I don't know. Cause like I obviously spend more time focusing on the like Bachelor, Bachelorettes than all the other
That's
characters. True. Yeah, which, let's see. It's hard to tell because they're all so different, and the nice thing about Stardew is that all the characters have really intense like personalities that you slowly learn.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things I appreciate most about that game is that like no matter which character you befriend, they all have stories.
Yeah.
And like I marry a different person on each playthrough because, you know, it's cool to get to know them all. And even characters that you don't marry, like I really appreciate a character like Kent where they put him in and like his story is like really heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And there's no need to do that. Like there's absolutely no need for Stardew Valley to talk about war and PTSD.
Right.
But it is. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Shane is so sad. Shane
Yeah,
is so sad.
on my last playthrough, I decided, like, I never really liked Shane because he was mean. And so on my last playthrough, I decided, okay, I'm going to befriend him just because. And I was like, oh man, like this guy has some
Yeah,
struggles
it's
with
like,
depression, alcoholism, addiction. Like, damn, dude. Like, I think I shed a tear doing one of his cutscenes.
yeah, it's
I was like, damn.
sad. Yeah, Shane shit's really sad. I always liked Sebastian. I just like the emo boys. What can I say?
That was the first person I married.
Me too.
I got that's always my go-to.
Classic.
And then actually, my next playthrough, I think I married Maru.
Oh my god, we did the exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just like the nerd.
Just like nerds, you know?
Yeah. I there's so many characters I like in that. I like the wizard just because he's like the one magical dude that's just out there.
He's just hanging out.
Who secretly had an affair.
Yeah, let me marry the wizard, cowards.
Right? Like, why? Why can't I?
I don't know. I always thought that was cowardly.
Single.
He's single, come on. Let's see. What's the weirdest thing your cat does?
Oh, geez. So I have the two cats, and my old cat, he has like this weird attachment issues where if I lay down, he will come and sit on my chest, but he'll put his arms around my neck and then press his face into my face and just purrs super intensely. And if I move him, he comes right back. He does this every night and every day. If I go right now to my room, he'll follow me and then go crawl on me. Yeah, and then my little cat, he just sleeps in the weirdest positions ever. I mean, he's not little, he's like gigantic as far as the cat goes, but my younger cat, he just like rolls around and yells and plays fetch, and he tries to open doors.
Aww. What a cute baby. I love that. Hold on one second. There we go. How do I? There we go. Perfect. I just had to ban someone.
Oh no! What happened?
It's okay. Just trolls. You know.
Yeah.
My first troll. We love to see it. You love to see it. That was my first troll.
Damn, where did they come from and why do they have nothing better to do?
They're probably just clicking on LGBT streams and trolling.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
Yeah. Oh well. At least just come at me, bro. No, don't come at me. Just be chill. Come on. All right.
Yeah, come on.
Come on. Next question. Do you think video games should be fine art?
Ooh, I like this question a lot because I love games and I love art.
Yeah.
And I think that video games are underrated as far as like looking at them like from like a not only like a story and like beauty standpoint, but I do think that games can be art. And I know some games are fine art and I think they're goofy, but there are definitely games where like they make me emotional, and they can be short, they can be pretty, but I do think games are a subset of art and people forget that. Like Stardew Valley is a work of art. I mean, one dude made it and it's incredible, even though it's just a fun game. But like art can be the same way. It can be a quick thing that you look at and admire and then like you pass on. It could be something that you like look at forever and it always inspires you, and a game can be the same way. Especially now with the rise of like indie development, becoming more and more popular. People are willing to do different things
Mm-hmm.
and experiment, and I love that games are becoming more and more just like little pieces of art.
Cool. Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like there's definitely a rise of like zine-esque like underground game type things, which I think is super cool because things are just like more accessible in general, you know.
Yeah, totally. And like more and more platforms are hosting them too,
Yeah.
which is really nice. They're more accessible.
Yeah, unlike, you know, the 2000s and the 90s where it's like that just like didn't exist, you know.
Got 6 games to choose from, and they all cost
Yeah.
$30. You can get the GameStop, and that's it.
That's it. All right. That's all the questions I have for you. Does anyone in the chat have questions for V? Or, you know, anything you want to talk about that you're into lately? How are your plants?
Oh gosh, I got a lot of plants. I'm growing avocado trees right now. Not to have
Ooh.
avocados because you need about 20 years and the ability to cross pollinate, and I don't have that kind of time. They just make really good house plants, so I'm growing avocados. I've
Aw.
been trying to grow mangoes, but my seeds keep rotting.
Oh no. Aw.
Yeah, they've been really, really nice in the pandemic because I do spend all day in my apartment, and having like green inside, especially over winter, was really, really helpful for me.
Yeah.
I need things to take care of or else I lose my mind.
Aw. How do you
Yeah.
I like want plants, but my cats eat everything. How do you like keep them from eating your plants?
I don't know how, but I've managed to train both of my cats not to really climb on certain places. Like they know not to go.
Oh.
That doesn't stop Frog, the younger one, from just like ripping through the house and jumping on stuff really quickly and knocking things over. But he's pretty good about it. I have a squirt bottle on hands at all times. So if they do mess with stuff, but I got lucky. They do stay away from my plants.
That is lucky.
Yeah, they don't really mess with them too much. If they did, I would probably cut back on my plants because, it just makes it more challenging.
Yeah,
Uh,
my cats are like absolutely relentless. They just destroy everything. So I'm just like, I guess I'm not a plant dad until like we get a garden one day or something.
yeah, it helps that like the cats have like designated spots where they hang out, and then there's like, so I have really big windows in my apartment, which is great for the plants. But I have 2 big ones that have windowsills, and one is exclusively plants, like the entire windowsill is plants. And the other windowsill is completely open, and I won't put plants there because my cats are always running on that windowsill, and so I won't chance it
That's
because I know
smart.
they would not.
Yeah. Yellow Hat Art says, I don't have time to do art, so my question is, how do you make time for it, both of you? I mean, I'm a college student studying graphic design, but yeah, any tips? I feel like you just have to make time for it, unfortunately. Like, just 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. Just tiny amounts. That's my advice. What do you think, V?
Yeah, no, totally. It doesn't matter how much time you spend on it. If you want to do it, just little bits here and there are always like helpful. When I was working full time and like trying to do art and like trying to do other things, I would just bring my sketchbook on the bus on my way to work, and I had a really long commute, and so I would sketch on the bus, and it would never be anything amazing, but at least it was art. And I, for a while, would set aside time of, okay, after work or after class, I'm going to sit down and just work for like 20 minutes or whatever. And it'd be like dedicated art time when I got home because I didn't have a lot of time either. And yeah, being in school is, you have tons of homework and shit to do, so it's hard to find those little bits.
Yeah.
But if it's something you do want to do, you can find a little bit of time here. If you really don't have it, there's no shame in, taking a break from doing artwork. You just don't have the time or like the brain space to focus on it.
Yeah, I didn't draw for like 2 years, honestly, because just because like I was depressed, it's like shit happens. Sometimes it's just you can't.
Yeah, no, there's zero shame in like taking time off of art or only just doing like, little tiny things. whether it being just like having a piece of paper on your desk with a pen that like while you're doing other stuff you just kind of doodle on. Just there's no shame in doing or not doing, really.
Yeah.
I think that like with social media, it's been kind of a problem where people see like a huge output of artwork from people. And it's very much skewed how much art people actually make.
Yeah.
Like I will have periods of time where I won't do anything for like a week or two, but I will space out my posts so it does look like I'm doing more stuff.
Right. That's smart.
I kind of trick that, or I like save artwork to share later, or just only share some old stuff. It's really like if you don't have like the energy or space to do it, it's fine not to.
Yeah. Yellow Hat says, "Oh, thank you. I sometimes feel guilty not drawing." Don't feel guilty. It is what it is. Like, I feel like art is very up and down. I found, like, even when I do my streaming, I feel like I have, like, bad streams and, like, good streams, and, like, sometimes I don't even want to stream, you know? It's just, sometimes that's just how it goes. So.
Oh, totally. And it's the same thing with my painting. Like, right now, because, like, I'm not working because of the pandemic, I have, like, free time, and I'm trying to, like, make it, like, a full-time job. But even then, with, you know, all the time, all day, every day, some days I don't want to paint, and that's totally acceptable. Like, if I do want to make it a, like, living and a full-time job, I do have to treat it like a job.
Yeah.
To actually, like, set up a daily schedule, okay, like, I paint for this chunk of time, I take a break at this time, and you have to treat it as that. But if you're not doing that, there's, like, no reason to force yourself to make art. If you feel bad and don't want to do it, if you're just not feeling like making it, there's no shame about it.
Yeah. Yellow Hat says, one last question. Do you take notes or when you have ideas of a painting, or how do you keep track of everything you want to do?
So I do some little notes, but usually I forget them. I try to keep track of everything here, but I have ADHD and that doesn't work very well.
Yeah, that sounds difficult.
Yeah. Oftentimes I use my phone for a lot of stuff, so I will screenshot things that, say if I saw a painting and I go, ooh, I would like to do something similar, or use that as like inspiration, whether it be like a border design or like a color combo. I'll screenshot that and save it so I can have that to look at later, and I'll forget about it. And then when I'm like, oh, what do I do right now? Like, I need to make some artwork, but I don't know what I'm doing. I'll look through my screenshotted stuff. Like, I have a sketchbook where I do ideas, but only like 1 out of like 20 ever gets to see the light of day and become a painting. And sometimes, like, I just, I have an idea, I need to do it now.
Yeah.
Or it's not gonna happen.
I think it's important to find, like, what works for you, too. Like, you know, I tried to do, like, Inktober one year, and I'm like, I can't do this. You know, it's like, you just kind of gotta figure out what thing works for you. Or, like, I used to, like, put stuff down in, like, a physical planner, and I'm like, this isn't working. Like, I just use my notes app on my phone for a lot of stuff, you know? It's just, it doesn't have to be anything fancy, I think.
Yeah. And there's a million ways to do it. Like, I know artists that are super, like, analytical and logical about it, where they, like, write down idea notes, and then they'll do, like, a little thumbnail, and then they'll do their sketch, and then they'll do the thing and refine it as they go until they get to the final piece. And like, that works for some people. I don't do that, because after I make one version, I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
I totally feel that. All right, we are almost to 2 hours, so I think it is about time to wrap up. Thank you so much, V, for coming and hanging out with us.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Thanks for everyone for hanging out in the chat, and I'll be back tomorrow with some N64 games. Oh, if anyone wants to follow V, you can do so at Instagram. I posted that in the chat. And yeah, any last words?
No, I think just make art if you wanna. Don't feel pressure.
Yeah.
Look at pretty stuff.
Yeah,
art is.
I agree. I agree. All right.
Yeah.
Alright, we are gonna do a little raid if we can. Let's see if I can do it really quick. Let's raid Vendy. Raiding basically is just we go into someone else's stream, and it's good for me to, you know, network and stuff and help other friends, so. Yeah. Well, I hope you have a wonderful night, V. I hope everyone in the chat has a wonderful night, and I will see y'all tomorrow. Peace out. Bye.
Bye.